The real secret of everything comes from this yellow pad.
Hey guys, welcome to my nighttime routine. I'm gonna be sharing with you everything that I do before I go to sleep, as well as the scientific reasoning for why I do it. I'm trying to get the best night's sleep possible. I wanna drive down my anxiety levels, especially during a stressful time. And finally, 3, I wanna get myself ready to face tomorrow as the best version of myself. Before we get started, let's give a huge shout out to Sensodyne for sponsoring this video. We're starting in the bedroom. The bedroom. The reason why I'm starting here, even though it's not bedtime just yet, is because I want to prep my sleep environment to be ready by the time I get to bed. I really focus on 3 things here: temperature, humidity, and light levels. These all need to be set ahead of time, preferably 2-3 hours, so by the time you get to bed, you're not rolling around trying to fall asleep. That's gonna pique your anxiety, and anxiety is the enemy of good sleep. The first thing I do is I set the temperature. I ideally look for 65 degrees Fahrenheit. The reason I do this is because your body naturally lowers its core temperature while you sleep. So if you can assist in the process by lowering the environment temperature, you're gonna be doing yourself a favor. If you don't, and it's warm in your room, your body's gonna try and cool down by sweating. And have you ever slept in sweaty sheets? That's a bad night's sleep. Next, I flip on my humidifier. The air can get quite dry in my apartment because I am running the AC, and dry air really irritates the nasal passageways, leading to congestion, scratchy throat, chapped lips. It's really difficult to get a good night's sleep that way. And I actually recommend a humidifier to many of my patients in order to keep their mucous membranes moist to potentially decrease the likelihood of them getting a virus. The last piece to the puzzle is to get rid of all external sources of light, and to make that happen, I have to close my blackout shades. Scientific research has actually shown that even small sources of light can make it difficult for you to fall asleep and to stay asleep. I've made it a complete blackout situation in my room, and I've really noticed the difference over the last year or 2. We've wrapped up in the bedroom, let's take it to the bathroom. First things first, getting rid of the facial hair. Now, I used to shave before, but then I realized it made me look way too young to be a doctor. I kept getting those comments from my patients, "You're Doogie Howser." It was too much. So now I use a beard trimmer and really get that hair nice and short, as well as using a shaver in order to get rid of the scruff around my neck. I think it still looks professional, but at the same time, it's a pretty aesthetic look. Next, I wanna give you a sneak peek at my skincare routine. Generally, I like to keep it pretty simple with a Murad cleanser followed by a moisturizer, but on other days, I like to get a little fancy, and I'm gonna show you that whole process when I do a dedicated skincare video. Keep a lookout for that. Last, but certainly not least, is taking care of these pearly whites. Look, your oral health is intimately connected to the health of the rest of your body. We've actually seen with scientific research that those who have poor oral health have poor cardiovascular outcomes as well. You gotta brush your teeth at least twice a day. Something you may not know about me is that I have really sensitive teeth. I've had braces twice in my life, whitened my teeth probably once too much, and because of that, it's quite painful to drink cold liquids like those cookies and cream milkshakes. Something I've been doing to combat it is using Sensodyne Sensitivity and Gum toothpaste because it truly helps. This is targeted for people who have sensitive teeth or gum problems. It's actually the #1 dentist recommended brand for sensitive teeth. Definitely check it out.
Can't forget to feed the noof. Now the noof's gotta poop.
Walking the noof during quarantine. Sound might not be great. This is actually my favorite part of my nighttime routine because it really helps me wind down. It's dark, it's quiet, nobody's out. It's a ghost town except the noof. The bear finally pooped. Now it's time for me to go upstairs and share with you a couple of secrets that I do to lower my anxiety before bed.
This is when my wind down truly begins. And I'm gonna take you through the few steps that I have laid out here of things you need to do in order to get into bed and fall asleep really quickly. First things first. I know the lights in here aren't that dim because I have the lights I'm recording with, but generally I only have that light and that light on to keep it dim so that when I get to bed, my melatonin levels are at their highest point. Melatonin is a sleepiness hormone that gets released when it's dark. It's part of your natural circadian rhythm. So the last thing you wanna do is turn on all the lights right before you go to sleep and hurt that melatonin release. You wanna keep that as high as possible. Second, I have my sleepy time tea here. I love green tea, but green tea has caffeine. You don't wanna consume caffeine before bed. Even if you're able to fall asleep, it's not a good idea because it'll interrupt the stages of your sleep and you're gonna wake up feeling not refreshed. So my sleepy time tea has chamomile, no caffeine, it's an herbal tea. There's something relaxing about it. I love it, it's my go-to drink. Next, the real secret of everything comes from this yellow pad. It's nothing to do with this yellow pad. It's just where I'm gonna write down the next things I'm about to tell you. First, create a to-do list for the following day. Because the last thing you wanna do is get into bed and start thinking, oh, I have to remember to do this and this and this. That's gonna keep you up. Get it down on paper, get it out of your mind. Second, I'm gonna tell you about the 3 good things. The 3 good things is something I've wanted to tell you for the longest time. I wanted to make a video dedicated to it because I'm so excited about the 3 good things. It's actually a process meant to decrease anxiety and depressive symptoms for up to 6 months. And all it takes is every night before you go to sleep to grab a yellow pad or a non-yellow pad or your phone and to write down 3 good things that have happened to you that day, as well as a brief reason as to why. For example, for me, number 1, I'll say Bear listened to me. And the reason will be lots of training. It could be something as small as that. It could be something as big as your family member had a graduation, you met someone held a door for you in the supermarket, or you ate a yummy meal. It doesn't matter, as long as it's positive. The reason we're doing this is we're retraining our minds to let go of the anxiety and think about the good things. Our minds naturally have a baseline level of anxiety. That's how our ancestors survived. But now it's much safer. You know, we're living in homes where there are no natural predators. So we need to think about the positive things, less so about the anxious things. The patients that I've recommended this to say it's a true game changer. I stand behind it, they stand behind it, and it's been researched in psychiatric medical journals saying that it truly does work. Come on, Bear, come on. It's bedtime for me, but I'm gonna leave you with 3 things that I recommend you do not do before going to bed. First thing, cell phone. Get the cell phones away from you. If you need to scan for urgent emails from work or messages, that's fine, but don't go on social media. Check out what your ex is doing. Get FOMO. That's gonna peak your anxiety levels. Definitely don't do that. Second, avoid heavy conversations. You know, you get into bed with your partner and you're like, why didn't you like what I was wearing? You're gonna be worn out. You're gonna have low willpower. You're not gonna give the proper amount of time to discuss the matter. So save it for the next day. And for number 3, no news in bed. There's so much anxiety that's gonna be passed on to you from there. It's gonna make it impossible to fall asleep. Save that for the morning when you have your coffee, your tea, you're ready to go and face the day. And I can't go to bed without saying goodnight to the noof.
Good night, little puppy. Good night, good night, good night. I love you. Good night, yeah.
Leave your questions down below, and as always, stay happy and healthy and sleepy.
Thanks again to Sensodyne for sponsoring this video.